You have heard of AA, or maybe you have been to some of the AA meetings. But now you've also heard of Smart Recovery. So which one is better, AA or Smart Recovery? How are they different? And which one is better to stay sober? Today you're in luck because we're having an AA versus Smart Recovery smackdown. I'm gonna go over the differences and the similarities so you can make the best informed decision for which group is best for you. Hi, this is Alex Rivera with Activation Energy. I'm here to help you stay sober, reclaim your life, and become the best version of yourself. Today, we're comparing AA versus Smart Recovery. I am going to go into some depth on how these programs work, what is their approach to recovery, and how you can benefit from each one of these programs. Make sure you stay till the end of the video because I have a special surprise for you today that will help you in your recovery process. So which meetings are better, AA or Smart Recovery? I have attended hundreds of AA and Smart Recovery meetings, so I will provide you with as good a review as I can and cover all the different approaches to recovery. AA was created almost 90 years ago, in 1935. Alcohol abuse or alcoholism was considered a lethal and incurable disease by most doctors. Bill W. and Dr. Bob, the founders of AA, used the teaching of the Oxford Group, which was a Christian fellowship at the time, for the underpinnings of AA. AA members follow 12 steps, and all the groups around the world are bound together by the 12 traditions. The 12 steps are spiritual principles. The first 3 require the individual to admit their powerlessness over alcohol or surrender their will to a higher power in order to find sanity. AA makes an effort to not choose a specific God. Therefore, surrendering to a higher power can be interpreted very broadly. Some people have suggested that the group itself can be considered the higher power that can help individuals restore their sanity. So even though AA is not a religious organization per se, its origins and principles are religious in nature. Smart Recovery was started in 1986 by Joe Gerstein and other volunteers. Smart Recovery development reflects a growing demand for different approaches to recovery that cater to different types of beliefs and approaches to sobriety. Smart Recovery's core principles are based on cognitive behavioral therapy and rational emotive behavioral therapy. And the principles are based on the idea of self-empowerment, self-management as an alternative to religious principles. The Smart Recovery program has gained a lot of traction since it was founded, and it relies on its 4 core principles, which are building and maintaining motivation, learning how to cope with urges and cravings, learning how to manage your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors, and learning how to balance your life. Now, these principles sound simple enough, but they all require you to work through exercises, through different methods in order for you to incorporate these principles in your day-to-day life. AA has a huge presence all over the world because it's been around for a very, very long time. There's always an AA meeting going on somewhere, and this creates a huge advantage for people who want to have this type of support. Smart Recovery has a broad schedule of meetings online because there are a lot less meetings as compared to AA. So you can log into smartrecovery.org, create an account, and look at all the different meetings happening at different times. The advantage of the online meetings is that they don't have to happen near you. You can just log in into your computer and attend one of these meetings. I feel like I benefited a lot from in-person Smart Recovery meetings. And I think there's a lot that gets lost when you go to an online meeting. However, I think going to an online meeting is much better than no meeting at all. It's a great alternative if one of these meetings is not offered in your area. In AA meetings, there is usually one of the members who presides the meeting and follows a very specific agenda. The people who talk in AA meetings usually tell their personal journey on how they started drinking and then how they went about deciding to stop. These stories and these recounts can offer valuable insight, and there are things to be learned about how other people went about getting better. Smart recovery meetings are organized somewhat differently. They're usually smaller groups, and there is a facilitator, which is usually a volunteer, which is also in recovery, who guides people through the meetings. The meetings start many times by asking the participants if somebody needs some kind of help, if they're struggling with a specific thing. So as the meeting progresses, people are encouraged to cross-talk to each other and offer insights into how could individuals help their situation. The moderator at that point might also choose to introduce a tool from the Smart Recovery Handbook, a tool that is relevant to where the discussion has been going. So if the discussion has gone in the direction of dealing with urges and cravings, the facilitator might bring up a tool that is relevant for that specific topic. The key point is that these tools are geared towards empowering the individuals and the participants in these meetings to make different type of choices. Okay, so let's list the key difference between SMART and AA. AA requires the individual to turn their will and their lives to God in order to find sobriety. AA follows 12 steps. These steps run the individual through the process of acknowledging their problem, surrendering their will to God, finding ways to make amends, and to teach others the same principles of AA in order to pay it forward. SMART provides CBT-based principles to recovery, where the individual is empowered to make different choices and learns different tools in order to build, maintain motivation, to fend off cravings and urges, to learn how to manage their thoughts, their feelings, and their behaviors, and to learn how to live a balanced life. AA also has a strong emphasis in the support provided by the group, specifically through their sponsorship programs, where a sponsor acts as a mentor to guide new members through the 12 steps. AA is also a large community that organizes a lot of activities on the weekends and throughout the week that members can participate. On the other hand, Smart Recovery emphasizes self-management, so they don't have a sponsorship program per se. However, people in meetings are encouraged to crosstalk and talk to each other and get to know each other. And there are no rules against meeting outside of meetings. So what are some similarities between AA and Smart Recovery? Well, they both rely on group meetings. That means a social type of environment where people are able to listen to other individuals and exchange ideas about sobriety. I truly believe that this is what makes the big difference in sobriety. Being able to participate in some of these meetings and these groups made the whole difference for me. It was not until I started attending some of these meetings and really paying attention and participating into these meetings where I started to make progress into my own recovery process. Another similarity is that both programs are focused on abstinence. In the case of AA, abstinence from alcohol. In the case of Smart Recovery, abstinence from any maladaptive behavior that is causing harm for the individual. And that could be alcohol, drugs, it could be activities like gambling, like sex addiction. So which program is better? The answer to that depends on each individual. because each individual has their own needs, preferences, and circumstances. Both programs have their strengths, and they can help the individual in different ways. And what works best varies from person to person, because we are all different. There is no single way to recover. There is not one way, one path to sobriety. I think what I've learned and what really matters is to take an attitude of do whatever it takes. I believe that my recovery gained a lot from both programs. So here are some factors to consider in order to choose which program is best for you. Smart Recovery can be a good alternative for people looking at secular alternative to 12 steps, where people can make different choices surrounding their drinking habit. Principle based on cognitive behavioral therapy and science-based techniques. AA is best suited for people who are wanting a religious framework to their recovery, where they can follow these 12 steps and surrender their will to a higher power in order to find sanity and ultimately recovery. Smart Recovery relies on self-empowerment and believes that the individual can manage their addiction through practical strategies. AA centers on powerlessness and the need for spiritual guidance in order to achieve sobriety. Smart Recovery offers group meetings, online sessions, practical skills and tools. AA provides fellowship through their meetings and their sponsorship program, and the idea of community is central to the AA program. Smart Recovery can be considered as more flexible, with a variety of tools and strategies that people can use in different aspects of their recovery. You can use them all, you can use a few, you can use some. It's up to the individual to use these tools to make their life better. AA follows the 12 steps, which are a very rigorous set of steps that one must follow in order to achieve sobriety. You can do a combined approach. Why not try both and see what you can learn from each of these programs? There is no rule against attending Smart Recovery meetings and AA meetings at the same time. As a matter of fact, I recommend it. That's what I did. And I learned some really unique insights in both meetings. I think these two programs can very easily complement each other, because at the end of the day, it's your life. And you have to be able to find a way to move forward and get better. I know you can do it. A lot of people have done it. And it's just a matter of finding the right formula that works for you. I discovered both in AA and Smart Recovery meetings that I am not alone, that this is something that happens to a lot of people, and that there is absolutely nothing wrong with me because I'm having this problem. The idea of seeking help and allowing other people to help me was very intimidating in the beginning, but it really, really helped me. The idea that I did not have all the answers, but that I did not have to have all the answers really helped me. See, I struggled for a very, very long time because I was trying to do this by myself. And I thought that I should be able to do this by myself. And I was shooting myself into an early death because I was not able to stop drinking, even if I tried. Even with my best efforts, I kept failing time and time again. Well, what I discovered over time, it was that there were other people that struggled the same way I did. So I became extremely interested in figuring out what had they done in order to stop drinking. I remember the days when just not being able to drink for a day seemed like an impossibility. So hearing somebody who had been sober for a week, a month, 6 months, a year seemed like an incredible feat. So I definitely wanted to hear what they had to say, because they had answers that I had not been able to figure out for myself. As I promised you in the beginning of the video, if you click on the link below, I will share with you my 5-day early sobriety program that will guide you day by day on the things that you need to do in order to maximize your chances of staying sober in early sobriety, because early sobriety can be some of the hardest days in sobriety. And I put together this list of activities that you will receive every day for the next 5 days in order to help you and guide you to stay sober in these very critical moments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, check this one out, which talks about how to deal with cravings and urges that can derail your best efforts to staying sober. I think you will enjoy it as well. This is Alex Rivera with Activation Energy. Thanks for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video.